आपको कैसे लग रहा है वर्सेटाइल शो पे आके?
Great.
सो जहाँ पे इंटेंट नहीं है वहाँ पे वैल्यू ऐड कर सकते हो, जहाँ पे इंटेंट है तो वहाँ पे आपको इंटेंट के हिसाब से काम करना पड़ेगा.
Right.
व्हाट्स योर ओपिनियन ऑन दिस?
Freedom is much more or much bigger motivator for people than money or anything else.
Right. So basically what I'm saying is कि ad के पीछे like you know pre-ad and post-ad there is a lot of work, right? Post-ad there is analysis, pre-ad there is content and there is a lot more things, right?
Yeah.
It's a growth problem in itself.
Like I don't have to work because I have to work, but I'll work because I want to work.
Right.
So right now, even if I consider this as a work, I want to do it, and that's why I'm doing it. Otherwise, like I'm not liable to do this.
Can I ask you like typical counter questions which will happen in the podcast?
Sure. I mean, I don't know. You are the master of my answers today. Whatever questions you want to ask.
So, मतलब see that is a joke, right? But like typically in podcasts, what people do is talk about कि यार founder की life कैसी चल रही है, and you know how founder is performing in their current role, what are the revenues. Like it's too much pressure, right? I think like off the topic बात करते हैं ठीक है इस podcast में, and I think like let's talk like in general about stuff, right? Office की बात आ रही तो कर लेंगे, but both of us are always like most of the times talking about office, right? So let's chill out a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So as a founder, right? How do you chill out? And when you started, तो अब तक क्या क्या change हुआ है? And how has your life become better as a founder in 5 years? Because you have taken this journey for 5 years now, right?
It's actually almost 7 years.
7 years.
But mostly Insane grew in last 4 years, and when I became like very serious about Insane. Insane is a 7 years old company, but when I started Insane, I was also running a parallel company called Insta Marketers, where I would grow people's Instagram accounts. So first 2 years was into that, and this was like a side hustle.
2 साल किए तूने Instagram like in Instagram, okay.
Right. So and what the service we used to provide is basically I'll help you grow your follower base, and the techniques you were using were grey hat. What grey hat is that
काली कर देते हैं.
you can say it's not entirely black.
It's on the line. Basically.
It's
not too black, it's not too good as
so platform उसको allow नहीं करता fully, but also disallow नहीं करता, तो वो middle में है, and we are using that technique. But I knew that this will eventually go away, so I already had started building Insane, and I thought like I had interest in running Facebook ads and doing funnels and all that, so I already had started thinking, reading, learning about that, and doing certain experimentations. But it's almost 4.5 years ago when we started becoming serious. So like, the first client we got for Insane was Naito and Springboard itself.
Okay.
और
यहीं पे हमको साले एंट्री नहीं मिल रही थी.
So I increased the qualification from I think I don't remember where it was 7-8% something to 83-84% in the matter of a month, which was like a huge win for us. And then we got another brand called Mama, which was an e-commerce brand, which recently became a unicorn.
You also ran Mama campaigns.
Yeah, so we grew them from doing almost 2 lakh a month on their website to almost 2.7 crore.
Okay.
In the matter of 18 months. We were very big on e-commerce before we
using influencers.
No, just Facebook ads.
Just ads.
Just Facebook ads, not even Google. And also like it's very like the transition is we started as a Facebook ads agency, then grew into Facebook, Google, then performance, and then now we are also working on funnels and other things. I would have been 10-11 years old. I was sitting with my dad in veranda, and I remember dad was sitting on the chair, and we were sitting down, me and my brothers, and my dad was telling a story, and it was the story of Dhirubhai Ambani, where he told that how Dhirubhai Ambani as an individual started his journey from petrol pump to building Reliance as a company, right? The biggest company in the country. So that story had left a remark in my head that if you want, you can do anything in your life, and somehow that philosophy became the way of life in my life, and I started looking at life very, very differently after that story. So when I was in college, or even before college, I would try to make websites. I would try to freelance and make some money here and there. I didn't know what I was doing, but like I just enjoyed doing it, and I thought, why not make some money out of it also, right? So I started making money over there, and in college, after first semester, I'm like, I want to go and start something of my own, and I dropped out.
Right.
And dropped out.
You dropped out?
I dropped out. I dropped out and started making games. So I coded
Mobile games.
Android game and
You know coding.
I know decent now.
Okay.
It's been a while, so
Okay.
I don't think I remember.
Right.
It's been 7, 8,
Right.
9 years, but I made 2 games,
Yeah.
which was quite insane at that time.
Plug कर रहा है धीरे-धीरे insane.
Huh?
Plug बहुत अच्छा कर रहा है तू. Yeah. Go on.
So, I made 2 games and I tried marketing it and I realized I don't know how to market. So from there, like after dropping out to making this game, I was at a place where I didn't know how to make money, and I didn't have enough money to survive, and my dad wouldn't give me any more money.
You were in Bangalore?
I was in Lucknow.
Okay.
And my dad won't give me any money because he's like, you had your leverage, you went to college, you didn't do that. If you have to make money now, come to family business.
Right.
And just to give you more context, he was quite happy I dropped out because that would save him some money.
Right.
Then I joined a job for 1 year and I helped them build their digital marketing and website development team and handled a team of 16, 17 people for a year. And that was the first time I did marketing. Before that I had like on and off, I tried, but I didn't know, right? And that's where I started realizing I should do something myself. And that's where the idea of insane developers came in.
So insane developers.
Insane
development करते थे.
Right.
Nice.
So I started a website development company. I created 1 or 2 websites for people. And when we developed it, the founders would be like, "Iska kya karu main? I have a website. What should I do?" It's like an add-on expense.
Right.
And that's where I saw the gap कि marketing भी करना है. And by that time I had tried my hands on e-commerce. I had done dropshipping, e-commerce business for a couple of months in US, from China to US, and I had a decent idea on how Facebook works.
अच्छा चल रहा dropshipping. Like is it tough to be or like जैसे ads आती हैं कि क्या आप पैसा बना पा रहे हैं फिर वो dropshipping डालते हैं कि dropshipping से आप बना सकते हैं. Like is dropshipping easy or like how is it?
That time it was very easy.
It was easy.
This is like 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah, तो मतलब like you set up a Shopify store, you put ads on it, it works.
That time it was that easy.
अब नहीं है.
अब नहीं.
Okay.
Right. So, to give you more context why it's not that way, because there are so many players, and even before you launch a product which becomes a winner, what I mean by winner is कि आप AliExpress or Alibaba पे जाके product ढूंढते हो,
Right.
and then you try to run ads to figure out if it can be sold or not.
Correct.
If there is demand or not. Right. Basically, product market fit we try to figure out. As soon as you do that, there are 100 of people who will start copying you. Right, so the market is very competitive, very saturated. That time, the phase of dropshipping was very, very early.
Right.
People were figuring out and could do that. Insane happened, and I think one of the greatest decisions of my life, looking back, because
Like it's insane marketers, right? That's the biggest.
not because like I could start a company and it's decently successful, but because the way it changed me as a person.
How?
I grew massively. Right? I come from a all-knowing family where like there are a lot of barriers which I had to break. So to start with, my family is a lot about money.
Are you not?
I'm not a lot about money.
Experiences.
Sure, experiences. I'll come to that point in a while. But majorly, like I see myself being someone who was very fearful, quite defensive in life. I would not listen to people. I'll have overconfidence, and like what you see today, who can be with you and chill with you, immediately switch on, switch off to different things. I would at one point find myself being alone because my personality is so
Did not allow you to be what you are.
yeah, like people would not have fun with me.
Right.
I was obsessive
Right.
and all of that. And in the journey of insane, I kept on realizing these things.
New things about yourself.
Yeah,
Right.
a lot of self-awareness happened, and one of the first biggest breakthroughs for me was knowing that as a founder, I'm always trying to be right.
You cannot be right.
y- Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it shouldn't be optimizing or thinking always about
Right.
it. And if someone is trying to say here, Aman, this is not how things should be, I will always defend
Right.
and justify myself and others how my actions are
Right.
right and yours are not. So blame others and be right. So
It's a journey, right? Like being a founder is a journey. You would know कि कैसे treat करना है लोगों को.
Yeah.
Then you would understand कि हाँ ऐसे नहीं करना, right? Like it's always iterating on some or the other,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, and like a group being a person who can when sitting in a room with 30 people, people can feel my presence.
Right,
I'm not
right.
saying I'm the center, and
Right.
I don't want to be the center.
Right.
But like I am seen in a way that people
Would gravitate
I-
towards you, like on an individual basis, right? Especially
I'm
girls.
not sure.
Right.
Chicks. Sure. I would want that. Is that the case though? I don't know. But I'm saying like there is some impression left, right? In a positive way, people perceive me calm, composed, funny, happy, whatever, right? And however they perceive it's in a very positive way.
Right,
So
right.
where I'm today because of this journey is like I try to optimize life and now, wherever I'm now, I should be completely there.
Right.
Not thinking about too much into future, not keeping a lot of baggages on the past, and generally I'm very happy.
Right, right.
So
You're composed, basically, right?
right. Content. I'm quite content with where I am. I don't have big goals in life. Not saying I'll not reach, or not me, but my company will not reach heights. But what I mean is that every day I just try to enjoy.
You're enjoying, basically.
whatever I do.
Yeah.
And things automatically keep happening. There has to be a direction, there has to be a value, there has to be a way.
Right.
You need to know what problems you're solving, you need to know where you're heading, what you're working towards. All of that I answer. I don't take them non-seriously. Whatever needs to be taken care of, seriously I take them. But
Got it.
I'm not too serious about them, and I'm not obsessive about them that it just gives me anxiety.
कि नींद नहीं आ रही, basically,
हाँ.
right? Like you can sleep at the night while basically being a founder, right?
Yeah.
But I take that away from you because like I have like this obsessive behavior which I have to leave. I was talking to him about it the other day, right? कि ऐसा होता है, and I admit that because you know we have like monthly feedback sessions where you can tell anything on my face कि यार मैं कैसा हूँ, ठीक है?
Sure.
And how I am managing you, right? So and everyone like in hierarchy, let's say if he is working with someone, they can tell him on the face that you know you are not a good boss. Exactly. You can be direct with the feedback.
Yeah.
Right, so this basically opens, and you were talking about this earlier also, right? कि जैसे लोग video cams on नहीं कर लेते,
Yeah.
then you came in, switched on your cam, right? As a founder, you would have to take like uncomfortable steps, even क्योंकि देख अगर 29 लोग हैं जो they're not sort of switching on their video cams,
Yeah.
and you are the first one to do that. थोड़ा uncomfortable stage, right?
Yeah.
Because they're looking at what is happening in the background, right? And everything they look at, they will basically, you know, there would be talks about that. You know, if he has sort of taken a step forward, why not us, right?
Right.
It will be like that. So
Yeah.
the culture would transcend from there, right?
Yeah.
So another question, right? You have Variku on your board, right? You have Mamaearth on your board. You had Web of Sisinti on your board, right? How did you came about getting all these clients? Because as an agency, we would, you know, understand कि कैसा होता है, right? To get those clients.
Right. So I see a lot of things which contributed to that, but I'll try to name a few which are on the top of the mind and
Right.
which I think work best.
Also, if you can add up, how did you get the first client or snowball effect start by anyone, right? Like you can sum it up in one answer. So
When you
that
say snowball, it's ripple effect.
मतलब हाँ ripple effect जैसे start किया ठीक है तो now you're getting 1 2 3 4 clients, right? As a freelancer or in agency you would get 1 client 2 client 3 client 4 client and then you know you would get referrals.
Yeah.
So did that snowball effect happen at every time or you consistently have to push acquisition? What happens, right, in an agency?
Yeah, so I think first of all, I'm very fortunate and lucky to have a lot of clients. I've worked with today and worked in the past, and most of them were references from here and there, and I didn't have to personally do a lot of aggressive sales. So acquisition was not one of our biggest ways to get clients. Mostly it has been word of mouth, or right now there is one person who takes care of sales in the team. Like he's damn good. He's able to generate leads and close them himself without too much support from the team.
Oh, nice.
Like again, very fortunate to have him in the team.
Right.
But let's start from the beginning, right? How did things happen? As I said, 91 was one of our earliest clients, and second client was Mama Earth. Mama Earth was the client.
By 91 Springboard, to mention karte so that people know, right? So 91 Springboard is like a, you can tell them.
Yeah. So 91 Springboard is a co-working space in Bangalore, Goa, Delhi.
Right.
The basic concept is if you want a place to work, you can come to this place and plug in and start working.
Those were your Springboard was your first client, right?
They were my first Indian clients.
How do you get Springboard?
Again, reference.
Okay.
So I would say that there was what do you call that term? Where you pretend to be someone who you're not. Imposter syndrome. So I was quite confident that what I'm doing is right and it will work out. And I had a few clients in US, very small accounts, not major businesses like this, not startups like this who have aggressive goals, but simple clients who would spend $200, $300 a month. And I was doing some things on Facebook ads for them. But 91 Springboard basically got through. So I was working in 91. I became friends with Sachet. Sachet is also in Insane right now. He works with me. And Sachet was handling operations for south of 91 Springboard for that time. And he introduced me with the marketing team. And that's how, like, then I gave strategy and then we acquired them. And then we did decent with them. So that's how 91 happened. For Mama Earth, which was second client, again came through one of the friends I would talk to and be associated with. So this was the time when Mama Earth was at inception stage or very early stage. They had just launched a few products. So it was also not hard to acquire them because they were very early and they were also trying to figure out things.
But it worked, right? Like timing. So I believe that, just to Katharas, I have like simultaneous thoughts as well. So I think acquiring Mama Earth at that point has turned out to be like a very good thing for you now, right? Because I think you are a partner of growing Mama Earth from where it was, right? Ek level.
Yeah.
And it has been like nice for your agency, right? When they were doing a little bit of sales, it was easy to acquire them, and now that they have grown, you still have them on your landing page, and it really works out, right?
Yeah. So for sure, I mean, Mama Earth was a client on top of which the entire agency is built. Right? Their portfolio got us on a next 10-20 clients.
Okay.
So even today, like if we want to get back into e-commerce, we can use Mama Earth as a client and we can get out.
That is like your hook point because you have done so good work, even though they would want you to come back and do it for them. Okay.
So we were very fortunate with Mama Earth because the founder is really smart. I worked with Varun and Varun was quite data driven at that point in time when even I was not data driven.
The CEO's husband, right?
So there is no CEO, Chief Mama,
Chief Mama, that's how they call it. And it's very cool, I think.
Yeah. So one of the co-founders is Varun, obviously he's the husband of the couple, and he would look at marketing and a lot of things, but work with me. So I worked with him, and very smart person. He knew what he was doing. He had a whole distribution. Like apart from this, he had strong influencers marketing going on, strong affiliate marketing going on. All of that contributed to performance. And we were also growing as a team, and at least the basic insights we had was quite strong, and we were able to crack things with Mama Earth and grow it. So grew Mama Earth, and on top of it, everything happened. But coming to your question, how all the client came in is from the good word. Most of the good client came in from the good word or the influence of the result.
Right.
Even today, sales for us is not very hard because
it's very result driven, right?
It's very result driven. Our case studies are very strong. Like a lot of case studies has actually set the benchmark in the industry for us. And when you talk about them, you already know that this guy is doing something right?
True. Whenever, so I have come across performance marketing, right? Like, okay, so I'll have to say this. So whenever like I've asked someone about performance marketing, I have always come across insane marketers as a brand. मतलब पहले भी, before I met you, right? And Lonavala में when he told that I'm running insane marketers, I was like crazy, right? Because मेरे बीच में Jay के साथ conversation हो रहा था and he was switching companies, so we are figuring something out. But then I met you and I was like bro, like I met you and मतलब ऐसा नहीं था कि insane marketers मतलब I had a recall, right? पहले से दिमाग में I was like यार ये बंदा बहुत crazy, right? He has sort of done something which like not a lot of people have figured out. Also, like one aspect of it is, so I'll also tell for the people, right? Like if most of your work has been through referrals, he's also got Ankur Parikh on board and he had Vyapaar on his board as well, right? Yeah, right. So continuing, right? So उसके अलावा, right? Like I generally have curiosity of कि how do you love services as a business and what are the downsides of being in the services business? Be honest about it, right? And what are the upsides of it, right? What do you feel in the last 5 years you've spent in this?
Sure. So before moving to this,
right.
I'll just add the core to the answer was we were obsessive about getting results as a company,
right?
And I've seen a lot of agencies optimize to get sales. Like most of the founders would work towards acquiring more and more clients,
right,
rather than thinking about how do I get results. And that one thought shaped a lot of things inside the company. We don't have people for servicing. We don't have the people who are on the account are the people who are supposed to service.
Okay, like so one POC and that is the guy who's working as well.
Right. There is no otherwise there will always be loss of communication.
Right.
And Chinese was stuck with that.
हाँ yeah, सही बात है.
Client कुछ और बोल रहा.
Yeah. Totally.
And not just that, like there is a lot of team structuring and how things should be. A lot of came around just to think about how do we get results. So बहुत ही core था. और सीधे work करी along with that. Like we don't have strong SOPs. No, we don't have any SOPs because like the way I think about SOPs is that SOPs limits creativity.
True, they box us.
Right.
They box you in ideas, right? Because you cannot think beyond that.
Right.
हमेशा space होता है.
Exactly. So we do follow best practices, but we also don't write it. So there is a lot of discussion going in the company on what is working right now and what will work in the future, and that allows us to keep testing new things and work on what is working. So
right.
We are always evolving as a company rather than being stuck with SOPs which limits you. आज के SOPs will not work in 3 years.
True.
Right. So,
agreed. Like frameworks change, right? Frameworks change all the time, and like a generalized framework is like not a good way to go, right?
Yeah.
You have to build on top of that with your own problems.
Yeah. So my idea was, like I always think about what else can be done to get results, and that works out.
Right. And you're obsessive about your clients getting results.
Exactly. So it keeps on adding, and eventually things keeps working out. Now coming to your next question, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So see, मतलब देखिए, so what are the cons of running a service-based business, right? You would have figured it out like in the 5 years. Do you not get burnt out enough, right? Do you not have clients calling you on Sundays and be like, why has this not happened, etc. Also, while optimizing for their performance, are you not thinking that you have to recreate the process entire time? Just you reach from A to Z for a client, now you have to repeat it for another client, right? Because we are discussing, तो मतलब as founders we have to understand कि इस business की reality क्या है, and every business has flaws, right? मतलब product में भी कुछ ना कुछ फटता रहता है हमेशा.
Right.
What do you think are the flaws in service?
Let me start with good things. Right?
Yeah.
Barrier to entry in these kind of service businesses virtually nothing, right? If you have decent skill set, you can enter into it,
right,
and you can grow into it. So you can just transact your time and skill for money, whatever value you create, and from there you can start creating the team.
True.
So that's a great thing about agency business. Like I think the risk of failure in product business is much higher compared to the agency.
I agree. I totally agree.
Right. But the great thing about product is that winner takes all. So if you crack the product, most of the products will take entire market and monetize. But a lot of agencies can exist together. For
True.
similar-
It is a collaborative space, right?
Right.
There is nothing to hide.
Sure. I mean, there could be a certain strategy.
Templates हो सकता है, like you know the way you work, etc. But in general, like it's a very collaborative space, right?
I mean, it's a knowledge space. So knowledge shared, but I think systems are different. The way people approach work are different. But knowledge spaces, so a lot of people, a lot of agencies, a lot of people who are consultant open up and give the knowledge, and we also teach that. So that's one thing. Like I think it's a basic dhanda, right? You create the value and you charge for that.
Right.
That's a great thing about it. So why I think a lot of people shouldn't do product, and I know this is another question, but I feel people doing startup is glamorized so much these days.
Right.
That
Financial aspects भूल जाते हैं लोग, right?
a lot of people go into product because उनको लगता है कि
Cool.
100x पैसा मिलेगा in next 7 years, 8 years, and then they do it and they realize they cannot make
Right.
money, right? तो पैसे के लिए जाते हैं लोग. Second, it also has fame. So if you're doing product nowadays, you already have some certain fame. Product business, you're founder of a
Right.
product business, okay, you're funded. So वो आपको कहीं ना कहीं rush दे रहा है वो. So I feel these are not great reasons to get into products.
Right.
To get into product business, you should be passionate about the product you're solving.
True. Agreed.
When you can in and out think about solving that problem, then money and fame will not come into picture. But when money and fame is in the picture, you have to consistently motivate yourself to get into that, and that remains true with everything, every business you do, right? So people who are going into product, just because of that, I would suggest an agency.
Yeah.
Because it's also a product of future. You can create agencies which are future proof. It doesn't have to be service of like calling service or something which is already becoming outdated, but more like digital marketing, data analytics or something like that, which is today's work. And you can keep adding new services which are for the future, and you can grow it. It can be scaled very fast. It's not that it's not like a brick mortar business.
True. Agreed.
But
I will add something, can I? Sure. Okay. So with agencies, so I have to add up on your point, right? So you said कि so similar thought, agency start करने but I thought कि you enter into product to make money, but there are chances you cannot because you haven't concept tested the product enough. You do not know the market. You just want to. It's glamorized, right?
Yeah.
And like I spoke to like one of our clients who does like McKinsey level का product बना रहा है, right? Like the product will actually consult people. So it's like AI-driven data, all of that into one product, and it's like a brilliant product. This guy has served Delhi airports, all of that, and like really interesting guy, right? And I think कि product basis पे you enter product but you do not make money if you think कि मेरे को पैसा बनाना है. But agency में अगर पैसा बनाना है, you are in it for money, right?
Yeah.
और पैसा बन जाएगा.
Yeah.
If you are good at it, right?
Yeah.
You just need to make sure कि एक skill आप scalable level पे दूसरों को सिखा के कैसे और scale कर सकते हो.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So at this point, right, I also want to ask कि जैसे let's say you have entered into services, right? And you come to the flaws as well उसके बाद, right? But what's the better approach? Do you think that let's say a general marketing agency would make more money, or a marketing for fintech would make more money, और एक और level नीचे जाके मैं सोचता हूँ कि you just do one aspect, which is just let's say X. So for example in tech I would tell you. So this is my assumption, right? कि developing random custom apps से better ये है कि you only develop fintech apps, और developing fintech apps से और better है कि you do a service that is not intent oriented. By intent oriented I mean जैसे for example let's say where you have to find intent on the internet. समझ रहे हैं? जैसे मान लें कि मैं अपर पे गया और मैंने फिगर आउट किया कि इस बंदे को ये सर्विस चाहिए, राइट? सो देयर इज इंटेंट उसके एंड से, बट बिना इंटेंट की चीजें बेचना इज द वे टू गो, राइट? सो फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से कि तेरा इंटेंट नहीं है, तेरे को इनसेन मार्केटर्स के लिए कुछ नहीं करवाना, बट आई कम एंड से कि लेट्स से यू आर डेवलपिंग अ प्रोडक्ट एंड योर प्रोडक्ट इज मेकिंग क्रेजी मनी, यू हैव डिस्पोजेबल कैश, एंड आई कम टू यू एंड से कि लेट्स डू QA on your product. It still adds a value, but QA would be accepted by more people without intent than custom dev and design.
Okay. Sure.
So an email saying that मैं QA कर दूंगा तेरे प्रोडक्ट का would get more responses than a product saying कि मैं तेरे लिए developers दे दूंगा, right? मतलब I'll basically develop your feature, right?
Yeah.
सो जहाँ पे इंटेंट नहीं है वहाँ पे वैल्यू ऐड कर सकते हो, जहाँ पे इंटेंट है तो वहाँ पे आपको इंटेंट के हिसाब से काम करना पड़ेगा,
राइट।
और जहाँ पे इंटेंट नहीं है, राइट, और वहाँ पे आप बेच रहे हो तो वहाँ पे आप टेम्पलेटिश कर सकते हो चीजें, राइट.
Right.
So what's your opinion on this? Like because you have driven into performance marketing and that too also only in like coaches, right? So how do you think has that journey gone about?
Right. Right now we only work with coaches. We started broad. We were Facebook ad agency. Then we realized we want to go more specific. So we went into e-commerce and coaches, and eventually just moved to doing performance for coaches. Focus has been one of the core values for the company for a long time, and we realized the more niche we go, the more we can charge as a company. Because right now in coaching industry, we are the only agency in the country, and I'm using the word only after really researching this, who is only servicing coaches and able to produce certain results, because of which we are able to dictate the market cost. So from that perspective, average profit per customer is much higher for us. It also enables us to pay higher and attract great talent, which is a separate conversation. But
हाँ मतलब वहाँ से पूरा loop, you know,
Yeah.
it matters, right? Like you can pay well.
yeah, exactly. And but so I think there is no one right approach. Right? I think as a founder, you should know how your personality is,
Right.
and you also need to understand how your co-founders are and what they are proficient in, and align on what strategy will work for you as an agency rather than what one person has done. Right? For us, we knew that when I get people in the team, I think about people who have growth mindset, who are more product oriented thought process rather than
Marketing
agency
oriented.
model. Right? Like agency में like a lot of people come with their thought कि
बहुत
customer
काम
service
करना
करनी है, इतनी देर काम करना है, ये चीजें करनी है, that's it. But when we are hiring people, we need you to grow, we need you to learn, we need you to take be motivated about your own growth and do that, right? And we'll give you resources, we'll help you with training, so there will be support and everything, but ultimately you have to figure out problems and solve them.
Right.
So there has to be certain critical thinking, certain problem solving approach to it. And, so because of which we realized that going into one specific industry is much better for us than going broader. But there could be a founder who have great network, right? And
उसके लिए भी custom चल जाएगा because you know you would get like different things.
right, and both in people like who can work with that person and also client side, right? So let's say you are hanging out with people in Reliance and Yamaha and all the big corporates, and you can just go and close the sales like this. Why not? Right? So that's another approach, and you can
Right.
So I don't think there is one approach to it, but what worked for us as a company is focus on one niche.
One niche.
Like as I said, result has been a core, right? So that again led to कि एक niche पे काम करना है, and that's how we'll be able to add more value to customer. We'll be able to figure out more problems and solve more problems in one niche than trying to do multiple things. You were just now saying that कि fintech कर रहे हैं, कई बार Swiggy बना रहे हैं, तो food delivery कर रहे हैं. So every time you have to create a new product, you have to figure out new.
हाँ नए से start करना, right? Like you always have to think from newer aspects.
So that would happen if you're doing performance marketing for like gym versus like a coach and everything. So you have to think funnel, you have to think content, you have to think strategy, and then running ads. It's not just running ads.
Mainly true. Ads के आगे और पीछे बहुत काम है because you have to create content, you have to put it on a platform, then you know what kind of stuff works. Yeah. So basically what I'm saying is कि ad के पीछे like you know pre-ad and post-ad there is a lot of work, right? Post-ad there is analysis, pre-ad there is content, and there is a lot more things, right?
Yeah.
It's a growth problem in itself. Basically it's an acquisition problem, but it's more about कि ad कितने लोग देख रहे हैं, कितने टाइम तक देख रहे हैं, फिर वो convert हो रहे हैं, funnel optimization फिर वहाँ से start हो रहा है, और फिर end में result आता है, right?
Right.
And you would have to do it again and again. That's why if you only do it in edtech, you would know कि हाँ यार ये चीज काम करती है, and it would work till a certain time. फिर आपको reiterate करना पड़ेगा.
Exactly.
But that gives you like a little bit comfort, and that makes you proficient in what you do, right?
Yeah.
So any edtech business has to come to you to basically make sure you know they grow on the internet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what do you suggest? Let's say, but it took time for you, right? Like it never happened. एकदम से ऐसे नहीं हो गया. It took time for you.
Yeah.
So what do you suggest? जैसे you have a lot of perspective about agency businesses, right? And we are doing development and design. So we can manage good products which are basic, which we can develop, and we can also design based on user research, and we have like a proper process setup for all of that, right? And we want to be big in this space, not by the virtue of कि हमको बस ये करना है, right? हम पैसे के लिए नहीं, like we want to be big in the space that people know कि हमको ये आता है, right? And as a company, we are really exploratory. So we might also shift to a product अगर वहाँ पे पैसा है, and it can be a mini product. It does not have to be like a huge risk, like a cred or something, right?
Sure.
It can be a mini product which is bootstrapped, can make money, and side by services which are right. What do you think? What's your opinion on that?
Sure. I think like we were talking about Mailchimp, right? So Mailchimp is a great example of a company which started by agency developers or agency owners. They had a website development company, and eventually they realized that there is a problem with which they can solve, and they built an in-house tool, which eventually they grew into a multi-billion-dollar business,
right?
$1 product. So one great thing about agency is you're working with a client, and you're working with multiple clients every single day, and you get to see a pattern where you can realize there is a big problem. Right? So if you can realize that big problem, so that's the great thing about agency, that you can find the pattern and you can figure out a problem which is quite big in the industry, and that allows you to think about product and which you can work on and solve the problem, which I think is very hard when you're starting with the product company. So that's a great thing I think about it, and obviously growing from agency to be able to build a product, bridging that gap and creating a product with certain value, that is great step as an agency, and also it provides a certain freedom, right? Like you can have certain lifestyle and all that.
Right.
Obviously product businesses in general has more risk, but also if you succeed it has much more reward also. So coming to,
is this a good strategy? What would be your thought on that? Is it a good strategy to run services on the side and build mini products, not products like that?
Yeah, so certainly if you can do that, you being 3 founders, it's much easier for you, and probably you can do it well. But it's much harder if you're focusing on 2 things, right? Like we have same amount of time every single day, so, and there are only limited amount of things we can focus on and grow, right?
True.
So if you have to focus on so many things, where you have entire business in agency, and then you also have to think about product, then you also have to consistently grow, hire and everything, because both the things are very different and they have different directions altogether.
Now that you say it, मेरे को दिमाग में लग रहा है कि नहीं यार, like only one thing at a time, right?
Yeah. So I feel it's much harder, but if you can crack it, if you can do it, I think you will have much deeper understanding of the customer, because you are already working with 30-40 customers in the industry, and if the idea came out of the agency, I think it's great, because again, deeper understanding of the problem, so the chances of able to solve the problem must be much higher compared to anyone who's just has the outline of the problem. Right. So that's my thought.
Got it. Now coming back to like what are the flaws, right? So do you want to even talk about flaws?
Oh, for sure. So like if agency business started when there was a realization that there is a lot of things industries can automate, right? I think essentially for one of the initial agency businesses were calling services, where
telephone lines. USA मतलब इंडिया में लोगों को ट्रेन करके फिर आप मतलब काम
exactly,
करो, right?
So customer servicing basically, basic call and service people. So and with every decade or every 5 years, there are new type of servicing happening which can be picked up and used to create the agency, right? But at the same time, the way product businesses are growing, I see a lot of services are becoming obsolete very, very fast. Right?
True. There's a no-code army, right?
Right.
It makes dev obsolete, right?
So that's one of the big risks for being in an agency. One random day, you will realize that what you are providing might not be needed in the industry altogether.
And you spent like 3 years doing that.
Right.
It's crazy risk.
So it's a very big risk. Then other flaws is it's a very manpower-driven business, right?
Yeah.
So as you said, teach others. Although I have different philosophy, I say that bring great talent and provide them enough resources, and if they're motivated, they learn themselves. But still, it's a knowledge business.
Yeah.
So to be able to maintain the similar results at scale is much difficult versus in product, because their product will function same, right? But when you scale, every team functions similar would be very different.
True.
So it's a very operational heavy business where people are transacting their time and skill for money, right? And everyone is not as you. So everyone has different skill set, different way of thinking. So at scale, there is a lot of chances that things might break. More you scale, the more chances of things breaking is there.
But there is a cap to an agency. Do you agree that? मतलब एक level पे you should not grow as an agency.
I mean, then you are not motivated.
नहीं मतलब I'm saying just to make sure that quality of services are great. Or you can grow while keeping the quality fine.
So one of the philosophy we have is grow slow but effective.
Right. That is also an option.
Yeah, but like if you don't grow, you as a founder will start getting demotivated because there is no growth.
Or else pivot to something else, right?
Add more services, add more things, whatever. Like, but that's also growth. Like, ultimately, there is something.
Yeah, grow in services rather than a number of people, right?
I mean, like if you're adding a product, that's also growth, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. So, not different people are
It's not one dimension.
Yeah.
It's like multi-dimensional.
See, we have cracked giving results to coaches, and it would be unwise to stop growing in that direction. Right. We have certain ways things work, and we know it will work over and over for next couple of years.
Right.
So why not acquire more clients and do it?
True.
But the only thing is we do it slowly. We unlike typical agencies, we don't try to overburden people with work, but rather have more time to think things creatively and to be able to think about problems and solve them. So people have enough time to learn and grow. And I see that every time we get a great talent in the team, there is a learning curve. There's a drop in whatever past knowledge they had, and they start picking insane way of thinking, and then they jump up. And once they reach a level, they start giving results. 70% of what we expect, or 130% of what we expect, right? Somewhere in the line. And that's great place to be. You're able to add value to the system, to the company and to the client, and then you can charge for it and make money out of it.
Right.
So it's unwise if I don't grow. But just slow and effective is what we as a company care about.
So I think growth ki definition is like different, right? For let's say you might grow in the same business, or you might create like a different product and latch on that, or you might have more people and more like growth happens in different formats, right? And every day you're growing incrementally by adding, let's say, a product or a team member or like a client, right? It happens like in multitude of ways, right?
Can you repeat that?
Like every time you do something, right? So let's say you add employees because you have clients, or you latch onto a different product, you grow, right? As a business, because if you are running an agency business, it's not that you are restricted into that, right? You can also do product. Because I think you are doing product, right, at this point. You are jumping into a new product. But मैं इस चीज़ के लिए भी curious हूँ that running this for 5 years, how much, मतलब for your employees and for you, how much time have you got apart from work? मतलब like typical agencies, right? So I know a lot of agencies, would not name them. My friends work there. My company hasn't seen that as of now because we are not as big, or we haven't reached a particular size. But जो भी whatever is happening in your agency, right? How do you make sure that people have enough time to even chill out, right? Or you have enough time so that you can work on something else.
Sure.
And tell us about your product as well, right? So.
Yeah, sure. I'll take first. How much time do I have?
And मतलब time wise, जैसे नहीं अभी मतलब 5 साल तक have you got enough time or your employees have got enough time? How have you made sure that your employees get enough time apart from work, right?
Sure. So journey wise, first 3-4 years was um, quite hard. Probably better word is tough or difficult. I don't know which is a better term, but the point is, from the aspect, from the context of time, I didn't have a lot of time for my, like, including Insane's time, and before that, I don't remember taking a proper break of 3-4 days for over 8 years in my initial career. And I would burn out a lot of times. I would want to give up. I would want to quit. I would not want to do this. What really happened in the things really changed in the last 2 years, where like there was a breakthrough moment in my life, and I started thinking suddenly very broad in life, and suddenly things started working out for me. And while this sounds magical, I think it was just.
It was magical, right? It was what it is.
It was magical, but I feel it was also the compound of a lot of things which were happening in different parts of my life across my entire life before that. And suddenly things started making sense, and a lot of structures came in my mind which I thought can work, and started experimenting those. So from last 2 years, I personally have gained much more freedom in my life, and along with that, the people working in our team has gained a lot more freedom. What I mean by that is, Saturdays and Sunday I hardly work. If I work, it's my will to work. Otherwise, I will not. Like I don't have to work because I have to work, but I'll work because I want to work. Right. So right now, even if I consider this as a work, I want to do it, then that's why I'm doing it. Otherwise, like I'm not liable to do this. Right?
You can say F off to me anytime.
No, I'm enjoying it. So that. Second point is, like from a people's perspective, team's perspective, one thing I realized that focus goes long. Right? If you're focused in one thing for a long period of time, chances of you being better in that compared to others will be much higher. Right?
You have deeper insights.
Yeah, you have deeper insights. It might not hold true every day, but most of the time. Right? So I realized if a small bucket of team of 3 or 4 people work on 3 or 4 accounts and have spent decent amount of time to learn the industry and the product and everything, they'll have enough time to learn. They'll have enough time to think about problems, and they will perform better. So that's how we structured things. We have small buckets of team who don't work on a lot of clients. We have focused industry and a lot of small things which go deeper into things and work, right? And because of that, we are able to create freedom for people also. So, as I said, company was remote way before COVID, and we had this culture of travel and work even before COVID. Because at some place I realized that freedom is much more or much bigger motivator for people than money or anything else.
Right.
If people are not being asked too many questions, if they're given enough freedom, and if they're smart, they're able to figure out problems and solve. And if they're also self-managed and motivated enough to show up every day and work, that will happen. So the transition took 2 years for me to complete, but today I would say 28 people out of 30 people will say great things about the company, and 2 might say that it's okay, right? Which is a great number, and I don't want to settle at that, but I'm saying it's a good motivator that we're doing something right.
Sure. 100%.
So people have a lot of freedom. They can choose to work at any time. They have their own time schedule with their team. They can choose to work with the clients they want to work with, and a lot of things. And also, like, I was sitting with one of my team members 2 weeks ago on a meet call, and he said one of the great things about Insane is that when I came to Insane, I said I don't want to work on Saturday, Sunday, and in 2 years I never had to work on Saturday, Sunday, which was a great validation and that freedom.
So at our company, right, like we have, from the scratch, we have never worked on Saturdays, Sundays. Is that a good direction or like, are we not working hard enough?
I think it's a great question.
But yeah, मेरे को लगता है यार तेरे से बात करके हमेशा मजा आता है. And even when we met in Lonavala, right?
Yeah.
So I never saw like a founder जो ऐसे कोट पहन के strict हो रहा है, right? Like I think on a human level we connect, and no one, like I have met a lot of founders who are not of the mindset कि यार अब हमको founder वाले उसमें रहना है, box में, right? It's like suffocating, right? एक level पे you cannot connect to people. So एक इंसान के level पे had a great conversation and I really enjoyed that, right? And great insight. So I think all my questions are answered. Anything, if you have to ask me, or let's say you have to tell people about anything, etc., like whoever is watching this, you can go on.
Like I would want to ask you how you maintain your energy level. Really love that. Like how you're so peppy all the time. And like I think it's you have that aura which creates a great positive vibe around, a warmth around where people would want to be around. So I really would love to know how you do that. What goes in your mind?
Right. So it's definitely not cooking, but the secret of my energy. The secret of my energy is boost, right? So I take boost and put some lines, and that's not.
Oh, I should have guessed that. I think I'm not.
Yeah. But I think, like, on a serious note, right? I think like I enjoy whatever I am doing, right? So like when I go back home, I do not have the pressure of कि यार अब मैं यहाँ पे enjoy नहीं कर रहा, या फिर मैं काम में हूँ, तो I genuinely feel that I've created a freedom for myself कि मैं enjoy कर पाऊँ much sooner, and I want to do it for everyone who is working with me, right? Better than मतलब slog करने से अच्छा है कि you just enjoy. Even if my company is not making like enough revenue, I would enjoy it and make sure that आगे के लिए like everyone who is working with me makes enough wealth, right? And that keeps me driven, because office में भी we are not working, right? We enjoy, and work happens as a byproduct, right? So I think that's the secret of my energy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I should get boost today and not or cocaine.
Yeah. I think I bought it for my entire team. Like everyone snorts boost.
Religiously, 2 घंटे में boost, not boost. So I think sugar rush.
Sugar rush.
And that's great, man. Like I think it's like even meeting you in Lonavala was quite warm. Even when I was talking to Gunjan, she was very like. Sagar is quite lit and fun to be around. So I think I had a great conversation as well. बकचोदी शायद इसमें थोड़ा कम हो गई थी, but
next conversation, right? You are staying here, right? Like हम 10 किलोमीटर दूर रहते हैं, तो हम podcast और भी कर सकते हैं.
Sure. तो अगली बार बकचोदी वाला कर लेंगे. I mean, yeah, that's it. I don't want to give any advices, just live.
Right. I also like Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan.
अच्छा.
Do you like Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan?
गाने बताओ क्या?
सुखों का रंग सुनहरा ये नीली नीली आंखें राज मन में गहरा तारीफ करूं क्या उसकी जिसने हमें बनाया.
इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग मत देना.